recognize the change. We recognize that things are changing. We recognize that life is a process of change, but we don't necessarily recognize it for the actual dynamic change it is. And as a result, we begin to take things for granted. And that's what a lot of people who are having trouble in terms of adjusting to the changes emotionally or mentally is because of attachments. It's just that we've taken things for granted. We've established some attachment to this, and because now that has fallen apart or is falling apart, um, we are now responding to it with a little bit of concern, worry, all that stuff. So it's an energetic change. Everything is a change, but this is an energetic change which is impacting human consciousness. And not just consciousness, but human behavior. So some of the some of the stuff that we are starting to witness around us seems a little bit out of sync, seems a little bit absurd. And it's not that these individuals who are making, in fact, not just those individuals, even ourselves, that we can fluctuate very quickly from one one state to another, and it happens very dynamically, very quickly, and before we realize, we're in a kind of a diametrically opposed position. Now, this shift, if we recognize it, that we are in this shifting energy that is affecting our consciousness and affecting our mind. Now, when I talk about the mind, what am I saying? The mind is something that you are not born with, right? It is something that is cultivated. So the mind effectively is, you have the building blocks of a mind when you're born. Then the first thing you're given is language and meaning. And through language, meaning, attachment, we start creating some map of reality. This map of reality becomes our worldview. So, for my worldview, and my worldview is a worldview that's embedded in several thousand years of clinical evidence and experiential based practices. So it's not something that I've read in a book or a theory. It is, what is the mind, the nature of the mind. The nature of your mind is effectively four things. It's effectively thought, and thought can emerge as pictures, it can emerge as sound, it can emerge as words. So thought can appear in a different variety, but thought. The second is memory, chit, because our mind has the capacity to hold on to events that have taken place in the past, and we hold those events as memories. And with memory comes intention. So if I was to ask you, hey, what did you eat yesterday? You will need to intention. You will need the intention to go and retrieve that memory. Okay. So your mind is thought, it is memory, and intention. Um, and then it is intellect, buddhi. Buddhi is discrimination. So discrimination is like, for example, a child cannot exercise their intellect because they haven't built their memories. You need memories, and you need experience, and you need to be able to then apply that in a logical manner, which is then again something that we are taught. And that then becomes the focus of your intelligence. So man, chit, buddh. So thought, memory, intellect, discrimination. From my worldview, intellect is nothing more than simply the ability to discriminate, to be able to decide which decision to make. So it's just discrimination. And then if you put these three things together, then there is this notion that I am. I am dove, I am this, I am a man, I am a woman, I am a blah, blah, blah. That I amness is effectively the combination of these three things, right? And it's called ahankar. And this I amness is like it's like sticky glue. And so wherever you focus, you can get stuck to it. So you look at your um, uh, um, celebrity on entertainment phantom that we have to say, hey, I really think this person is fantastic or whatever it is. The moment we see that, we create an identity with whatever we are relating to. Okay, so these four things are your mind, right? This is the nature of the mind. This is the basis of the mind. Of course, there are other layers that we can go into, but it's not necessary. So these four things, when combined together, create your sense of self. And in the Western world, we call this ego. But within my worldview, this is called ho me, which means a constant self reflection. Constant self reflection, a constant looking at yourself. If you go out, oh, am I warm enough? Am I cold enough? Am I hungry enough? Am I rich enough? Am I this enough? It's always this constant dynamic self referencing. This self referencing, again, is a component of the mind because a child doesn't do this. So it is when the mind is formed that this is happening. Now, depending on how you have been brainwashed or conditioned or educated, and the language that you have been educated in will determine how you see the world, what you think the world is, what you think life is. So, there are cultures that are devoid of many of these, particularly the modern cultures. The ancient cultures have worked for thousands of years in order to make sense of life. And they have then passed this on to the future generation. And this is what we call a tradition. So we have traditions where you have masters, and the masters had masters, and so forth. And you can follow it all the way up to Buddha, to Krishna, to Guru Nanak, to Kabir, to Christ, to it doesn't matter. All of these, Pythagoras, Diogenes, many different cultures had these masters. And back in the day, it was very hard to find a master. In fact, it's even rarer now. So if you knew there was a master on the other side of the world, then your mission would become to find that master in order for you to make meaning of your life. What is the meaning of my life? What does it mean to me to be me? What is it? What am I doing here? What's the point of me being alive? These fundamental questions are now becoming more and more relevant because of the manufactured crisis we're in and the fear and all that kind of stuff that I've spoken about before. But mortality, the fear of dying, has brought these questions to many people's minds. What am I doing here? What's my purpose of my life? People who live in fear or anxious are considering now, is this what I'm about? Is this what my life's about? Why me? Why does it happen to me? So all of these questions are starting to now become more and more prominent. And rightly so. And rightly so. Because we as a culture, not as a species, as a culture, we as a modern culture have given value to what I would call instant gratification. We've given value not to what it means to be alive, not what it means to have deep understanding of the self, of relationships, being able to relate to people, living a life that you know this is a phenomenal gift. And every day I live, I add something to the well being of existence. Not that I exploit it for my uh, gratification. That's the difference. So we have become creatures that sit before a TV, a screen for hours on end, and we think that's entertainment. Do you ever think how much that time is worth? Is there any amount of money in this world that if you were to live your life right now and you could pay to have 5 more minutes so you can say to someone you love them, so you can say to someone, I care for you, or you can say to someone, I am grateful for having you, or whatever it is in life. What would you give for those 5 minutes? What would you give? So once we begin to recognize the preciousness of our life, we then begin to also allow ourselves to discover how to invest that preciousness, where to invest it. Life is only considered valuable when it's about to go. And go and ask people who are ill and waiting for life to be taken because they can't take the suffering. And there are those that are saying, only if I had another few days or a few years or a few months, only if I could see my children grow up, only if I, there are many people with many, many illnesses that allows them through their suffering recognize the gift of life. And once we recognize that life is a gift, and this gift comes from somewhere, you came from somewhere. You didn't simply come about because you wanted to come about. Your mother and father were responsible for you. Your breathing, even that you're not responsible for. Your heart rate, even that's not what you're responsible for. Excuse me. So, when we start to recognize that what we consider to be me came about from somewhere else, then how much of the me can you claim? Now, I'm asking you these questions because it allows us to separate ourselves from the prison of our worldview. Life not have lived with meaning and purpose is a wasted life. You will not have this chance again, neither will I. So use this time to know yourself. And in knowing yourself, we go through a process. So it's not like, oh, I am going to find out myself. It is just the intention to know, to go within through the breath, etc. That intention creates the path. That intention creates the doorway. That intention opens the door and creates the path because that intention should be non conditional but should have an effort. So, the non conditional means I am not trying to discover that I am God. I am not trying to discover that I am silence, or I am stillness, or I am this, or I am that. I am simply wanting to look. I just want to go within. This word khoj means to go within. And the only way within is through the breath and then through the sound, through the mental sound, which we've been practicing over the last few months as well. So, in moving within ourselves, we begin to then unlock certain things. And the first thing that we unlock is we move from negative emotions, fear, anxiety, stress, anger, resentment, guilt, all that stuff, because that lowers your frequency. We move to a neutral space. With more practice, as our practice matures, and without practice, you ain't going to get nowhere. Without practice and the collective sangat, the group, the collective consciousness, this really aids your process, really aids your process. It's like the fertilizer that aids your process. So the fact that the Sangat has been divided now, that this social distancing has done this, is having an impact on collective vibration. And of course, we've discussed this before as well, that there may be agendas behind that. So coming back to having a practice, you move from the negative emotions to this neutral space. From this neutral space, as your awareness and your meditation and your practices gather maturity, meaning that you've spent time in it, you begin to experience positive psychology. So, positive psychology is something known as gun within the Sikh worldview, within the Gurmat worldview. What is it? Well, it's compassion, self compassion, it's acceptance, it's optimism, it's humility, it's gratitude, it's joy, it's even to the point of looking at suffering and non suffering as part of existence's plan, meaning particular order. So, this positive psychology then creates engagement. You begin to engage with life, you begin to engage with your nature, we begin to notice things you didn't notice before, your relationships with one another begin to change. Engagement. That creates new relationships. Those relationships start giving you a sense of achievement first. So you create a relationship with your garden, let's say, for argument's sake, or your food, and you begin to grow your food or cook your own food. The moment you finish doing that, there is a sense of achievement. That sense of achievement over time matures into meaning. That I did meaningful things in my life for myself. And then that meaning becomes your purpose. So we cannot get to purpose without going through this transformation. So starting at a negative space, starting in all the fear and all the other stuff, is the right place to start, because only that allows you to move further. It's only suffering, it's not love that's going to bring humanity together. I say it categorically. It will be our suffering, our collective suffering. And as these lockdown and masks and social distancing and isolation, all of those have become the mantras. And as they are being ratcheted up again, you can't do this and you can do this, you can't travel without a COVID pass, or you can't travel unless you've been vaccinated, blah, blah, blah. As it become more and more restrictive, it's going to create more suffering. And that suffering is what's going to allow people to awaken, because it is suffering that allows you, motivates you to do something. So, fear not. Watch the show as it's unfolding. Remember where you are within yourself. Remain grounded. Develop yourself in a positive way, because where we are heading depends on where you are as well. So increase your frequency, increase your vibration, do things that matter, but through meditation, we will move forward. So, coming to the crux of today's session. So, the crux of today's session is that we are constantly seeking, in fact, I would say craving security, safety. This craving can can be used against you. So you create a problem. COVID's here, it's going to get you, it's going to get you, it's going to get you. So you seek security. So you'll wear the mask, da da da, all that stuff. And on this hand, I say, hey, guess what? I can secure you from that threat by giving you this needle filled with this stuff called a vaccination. Security allows you to seek, a threat allows you to seek security. And therefore, you can be led into a particular path. So, critical thinking is absolutely vital. Question everything, see everything, question everything, believe nothing, follow your intuition. All right. So, because we have this sense of self that is always seeking security, we need to go beyond that. And we need to recognize that when we go beyond that sense of self, we encounter qualities within ourselves which are close to silence and stillness. Why silence and stillness matter is because here the ego cannot hold. And because the ego cannot hold, we can now begin to experience something about ourselves beyond that illusion of trying to hold on to something, right? So it's waking up, it's moving beyond your ego. And we don't want to, because we deny this. We deny the fact that there is more to it. We are so conditioned to see this ego as what we are that we deny anything else. But through our practices, we consistently go back to stillness, silence, peace, calmness. There are three things that we can identify, we can use as a test, as a criteria to know what is real and what is unreal. The first is logical. Is it logical? Second is it consistent? And the third is it something I can experience? Right? Is it logical that a glucose molecule will taste sweet? Well, if you know something about receptors on your tongue and the kind of networks, then you can say, yeah, probably. It's logical. Is it consistent that every time I put sugar in my mouth, it's sweet? Yeah, that's pretty consistent for most people. Is it experiential that when I eat that sugar, I experience sweetness, but I cannot express that sweetness to anyone else? These three things, logical, consistent, experiential, you can test any worldview. So if anyone tells you something, if you want to see how solid it is, those three questions: logical, consistent, experiential. So every time you meditate and you go beyond your mind, is it logical that you would experience calmness? And yes, because it's the mind that has the activity. So it's logical. Is it consistent? So every time you meditate, so out of 100 times, maybe 20 times or 40 times or 50 times, are you consistently experiencing that peace or some tranquility? Yeah, it's pretty consistent. Is it experiential? Yes, only I know what I experience. So these three um, criteria actually prove that the nature of existence, the worldview is that everything, when you reduce everything down, it reduces down to stillness and silence. And but that does not mean it is empty of everything. No, no, no. There is a presence there, and that presence is you, that presence is existence, and that presence is pregnant. It's a presence through which much can be achieved, depending where you are as well. So the co-creation space stuff kind of begins from that space. Okay. So now let us see if this is true. So we will now follow our meditation practice. We're going to use something to go into our breath, and then we'll move on. So no sound in this one. Okay. So once again, try and close your eyes. Again, if you don't want to close your eyes, you may wish to look towards the ground at about 45 degrees, but not focus on anything. Straighten your neck, just make sure it's a bit loose, and your shoulders. Your back is loose as well. Okay? It's always a good idea to just wake your body up a little bit, just get some of that meridian stuff going. All right. So once you're ready, your intention is to become present to your experience of life. So as you breathe in, first notice what's going on with you. Do you feel hot? Do you feel cold? Do you feel comfortable? And if you feel hot, as we do in Britain at the moment, notice how that sensation is being experienced in your body. Not the fact that you're resisting it, saying, I don't like it, or I like it. But just notice in your body, how do you know it's hot? Notice what's going on in your body. Notice any dominant sensations. And if you didn't have a language, describe the feeling that you're experiencing, the sensations you're experiencing, how could you do it? Is it comfortable or uncomfortable? And that uncomfortable or uncomfortable, who's deciding that? Is the body deciding that or is the mind deciding that? Okay. As you breathe in, bring your focus back to your breath and then take it to your body. Notice how the body feels. Notice that you can sense your whole body. Okay, so we're not denying that we're not here. We are experiencing ourselves as fully as we can. Notice that you can sense your whole body. Now bring your focus to your thoughts. So where's your thoughts today? What's been your story today? Or what's your current story? What are your thoughts doing? How does your mind feel? Just take a moment to notice if you can. As you breathe in, come back to your body, move your focus to the chair or the floor that you're sitting on, your seat. Begin to notice the sensations where your body makes contact with the chair or the seat that you're on. Now, looking at those sensations, becoming aware of those sensations. So you fix your awareness first on, and then as you breathe in, bring this focus upwards. So you become aware of your hips, and then you become aware of your pelvis. From here, as you breathe in, bring your focus down your thighs, all the way to your knees. From your knees, move this focus down to your ankles as best as you can. From your ankles, moving your awareness, your focus to your feet. And then finally to the soles of your feet, as best as you can. Are there any sensations there? Can you sense the soles of your feet? Come back to the chair or the seat. Allow your body to be held. In other words, you can afford your body to relax a little bit. Soften. As you breathe in, bring your focus up towards your lower back. Next breath in, up towards your middle back. Next breath in, up towards your shoulder blades. Notice that your shoulders are not hunched. As you breathe out, bring your focus down from your shoulders to your elbows. from your elbows to your wrists. Move to the palms of your hands. So you're just sensing this part of the body. And then to the fingers. Bring your focus towards your eyes. Allow your face to relax. Notice the darkness you are aware of, even though your eyes are closed. You are still able to see or become aware of darkness or thoughts. Relax and soften this part of the body. Move your focus to your tongue. Allow it to soften. Allow your jaw to relax. Move your focus to the back of your neck. And as you pull your chin in slightly, notice the back of the neck stretching. Now, sitting there, as you breathe in, bring your focus now to your body as best as you can. Your intention is simply to become present to your experience of life. So, in this moment, in this time, in this place that you're at, this is your experience. Notice how the body feels. Does it still feel as hot or cold? Bring your focus to your chest. What is your emotional state? Is there worry? Is there anger? Is there concern? Unpleasant emotional state or pleasant emotional state? Feeling settled, peaceful, tranquil. Is this moment enough? If not, what's missing? On your next breath out, open your awareness and begin to listen to the sounds around you. Notice that there are sounds which may be near to you and there are sounds which may be further away. Give yourself the freedom to let go. Draw a slow, deep breath in, hold, and as you hear the bell, allow your breath to escape. Stay with the bell. Once again, if you can, as your breath leaves, as your breath goes out, just follow this bell as far as you can. When you're ready, bring your focus just beneath your nose. Allow the breath to breathe by itself. And begin to follow your out breath all the way till the end. Allowing your breath, allowing your awareness to follow your breath all the way till the end. And if you can, notice that little gap at the end of your out breath. Allowing every out breath to move you deeper and deeper. If thoughts come, notice them, go back to your breath. Just follow your breath. See if you can find a point when your out breath finishes and there's a point of stillness. See if you can find that point of stillness at the end of your out breath. Stillness when nothing moves. Noting the end of your out breath as best as you can. Stay with your breath. Now bring your focus to the sound of your breath. Trying to listen to your breath as it comes in and as it goes out, as best as you can. Really bringing your focus on the sound as best as you can. And once again, follow your out breath and see if you can notice the silence at the end of your out breath. Notice the stillness, notice the silence at the end of your out breath. It is out of this stillness that your breath takes birth. It is out of this silence that your breath takes birth. Stay with your breath, allowing every out breath to move you deeper and deeper into this end point. When there is no breath, but there is stillness and silence. A little bit deeper. Allow yourself to go. Very gently, We begin to open our awareness, begin to listen to the sounds that are close to us, allowing them to come to us. And just through this listening, we're going to use the bell to move deeper into the silence all around us. Just follow the bell and notice the silence at the end. Let's go further. And one last time. Notice the timelessness of this moment. Notice the stillness. Notice the silence. Everything that happens in the crucible of silence and stillness. When you have a body but not the body, you have thoughts but you're not your thoughts, you have emotions but you're not your emotions, you're simply awareness that resides in silence and stillness. Sun Samad. The longer you stay here, the more absorbed you become. Gently bring your focus back to your breath. Expand your awareness to include your body. Become aware of the sensations where you're sitting. Notice you can sense your hips, your thighs, all the way down to your feet. Just sense it. Notice your back is straight and upright. Shoulders, arms, hands are relaxed and comfortable. Eyes are closed, mouth is closed. Face is relaxed. Do you feel hot or do you feel cold? Notice how the body feels now. Breathing in, you can sense your body. Breathing out, you can sense your body. When you hear the next bell, use this bell to draw some slow, deep breaths in. And then, in your own good time, gently coming out, opening your time. Wait until the bell finishes. Use the bell to draw some deep, long breaths in. Welcome back. I hate to disturb you out of that space, but everything that has a start must come to an end. So may you be happy, may you be healthy, may you be peaceful, may you be safe, wherever you are. Know that you're looked after. Thank you very much for joining us. We hope to see you next Thursday. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.